Welcome, travelers, to my podcast, Hitchhiker's Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy. I am your host, Ike, and I will be your guide through the journey that is E&M. And welcome to episode 5 of Hitchhiker's Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy. I am your host, Ike, also known as Hito in certain circles, and I'd like to welcome you back. Thanks for rocking with me as we go ahead and go through this journey. Today, I want to go ahead and talk about polyamory. And that's why we have this episode called And Along Came Polyam. I may have to make sure I add the polyam because I did read where the Polynesians are kind of, because it's easy for things to be co-opted. Poly normally was the shorthand for the Polynesians, so a lot more people are now saying polyam to show respect. And I mean, I'm assuming people that just say poly, they're not meaning any disrespect by it, but it's always good to try to be respectful when you can. And just saying polyam is not the hardest thing in the world. So I do want to focus on that. It is the more popular, the more well-known, the more mainstream version of ethical non-monogamy outside of swinging. And it is a very, very in-depth topic. There's a lot that has to go on with it. Be it the variations like kitchen table, garden party, solo poly. There are so many ways that this can be configured. So trust, this is not going to be able to be covered in this 30-40 minutes that we have here. So I do want to at least get into touch basics, kind of touch on the subject of what it is, what it's about, some basic definitions, at least in the first part of this podcast. And in the second part, I want to go ahead and express my own personal, just overall look at it, my journey into seeing if it might be the form for me before I ended up landing on Relationship Anarchy, because I did explore it and there are some principles that I've taken away from it, but overall I just found that it wasn't specifically meant for me. And that's the fun part about going on this journey. There are many different paths and turns that you can take until you find what's right for you. And in this case, polyam was not my jam, but it was someone else's jelly. So let's go ahead and get into it. If anything, let me go ahead and at least give a quick weekly review about what I got all going on. Just, nothing crazy, working my 9 to 5, doing sociology where, studying sociology during these times is mad depressing because we're looking at all the problems, be it with race, healthcare, education. This is intro, and I'm like, this is a little too close to home. I'm scared because the next chapter I'm in, Unit 6, we're going into the healthcare system, and we're still in the middle of a goddamn pandemic. So all right. Pray for your boy. I just took my midterm. But beyond that, like I said, I do live with my anchor partner now. We finally got pretty much everything put away. There's a place for everything at this point. Still putting up things like pictures and certain structures to help with storage. She just bought a shelf to put in the bathroom for makeup and nail stuff. So gonna help hang that up. Try to take care of all these plants that are now here, which kind of does lighten the mood. I should have been got plants. As far as my other partners, haven't been able to kick it with them. I did get to have a bit of a rendezvous with one where, late night I got off of work, she got off of work, just one of those kicking and hang out type of deals. Plan on doing some BDSM style stuff on Monday with the other partner that I have, because it's things that she's into and things she hasn't been able to explore, because finding someone trustworthy to explore them with is kind of iffy. So it's kind of we luckily ran into each other in that aspect, because I be having my bags, I be having all my flogs and stuff, and it's always trying to make it a great time for whoever I am expressing my art on, so we shall say. Beyond that, just trying to be chilling low key. I did a lot of traveling to start the year. Right now, it's all about recouping my funds before I go off and do more shenanigans, because we have got me and my anchor will be off to the Swing Fest event in Atlanta in July, and we're also going to go to Hedonism 2 with a travel group. Plan on going to a couple events. There is Polypalooza happening in the Houston area in May. Gonna be attending that. I did ask my other partner to go with because she hasn't been to events like that, and I felt like she's with the chaotic stuff. Like it's no plans, just vibes, and so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and check that out. But beyond that, it's been pretty good. Nothing too crazy, nothing too hectic. But yeah, beyond that, I want to say instead of adding to the road trip track list, what I want to do, because sometimes when you're on a long road trip, you bring up a book, you read along the way. And the book I would recommend on this road trip is The Ethical Slut. This is so pretty much the book is mainly targeted towards women and pretty much giving a rundown of how you should be your free self, not limiting yourself. It's kind of like they're taking ownership of the word slut because it's always been used to demean women and their desires. That's why we have the term slut shaming. Like if a woman is, whether she is sexual or not, the overall purpose of using the word slut and slut shaming them is kind of like taking agency away, taking their pleasure, taking their sexuality away, and making them be more reserved in terms of their own sexual pleasure. It also goes into the varying relationship styles. It goes into the breakdown of anything in regards to what is not the norm, what is not the heteronorm, and kind of gives you explanations and guidance to look into what might be something that you're missing. And so this would be The Ethical Slut by, if I butchered her name, I do apologize. But Ducey Easton and Janet Hardy. It is a great read. On my end, I had to do the audible because I will say this every episode. ADHD be kicking my ass sometimes. Like I have the actual book, I just haven't read it through, and then I realize, oh, I can have someone read it for me while I just sit back and like lay and relax. So it's always a good option. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this episode. And I will say, but yeah, a lot apparently. I guess that's my thing. I guess that's who I am, the but yeah guy. All right, but as we go into the topic that is polyamory. Now, of course, it like I said, is mainstream. But what is polyamory? Like the basic definition that's given is a combination of two words, being poly, which means many, and like the amorous section is more about lovers or love. So many lovers. That is essentially the meaning behind polyamory. So it's not because the overall concept is that there's love is abundant. You could always create more love. There is no limited resource on love. So why limit who you can show that love to? That's like the baseline principle. A lot more smarter people in these kind of things go into bigger, like greater depths. But for the everyman, that's pretty much the basic definition. And one thing that tends to kind of cause confusion is because with polyamory, there's also polygamy. Polygamy is a completely different term in regards to what they mean. Because when it goes to the gummy part, it means the marriage, like marriage, many marriages. But polygamy also, there's a fundamental misconception of what polygamy really is. When someone says polygamy, they think one man, many wives. That is not the case. Polygamy is split into two. You have polygyny, which is the one husband, many wives, and polyandry, which is the one wife with many husbands. These things do exist in the world. They have existed in the past. There are women right now with multiple husbands in other countries. But because, patriarchal society kind of determines what isn't known, what is in the mainstream. No one ever understands the concept that no, there are women out there with one woman, multiple husbands. So when someone says polygamy, it goes straight to like Mormon stuff, sister wife stuff, never about brother husband. So That's one misconception, because you'll see some people join a polyamorous group discussion group, and they'll talk about things that sound more on the side of polygamy. Personally, I don't have any beef with polygamy, polyandry. It's like, whatever floats your boat, floats your boat. I do have issues with how people kind of go into it. I have a personal beef for the build an empire people, because I'm Nigerian, I'm Igbo. So in the culture over there, yes, there will be husbands there that have multiple wives. But no, they're not getting multiple wives in order to build an empire. Like, they themselves are good. They're the ones that made, like, they have the wealth. They farm the, like, even, not even talking about money. The strong farmers that have big fields and can have multiple wives. That's what happened. It's not that, oh, I am poor, so I'm going to get more women into my circle so we can become richer together. No, get you a business partner. Like, that always rubs me the wrong way when I hear about building an empire, because, it takes agency away from your partner. Like, she's no longer a partner, she is a way to get rich. But I'll go into polygyny and polyandry in the future, because right now it's all about that polyam life. And so that is like one of the main misconceptions when it comes to polyamory, the whole polyamory versus polygamy. But then there is also another misconception when it comes to polyamory, is when you tell someone that you are non-monogamous or you're polyamorous. The first thoughts are that you have commitment issues, like you can't stick to one. That's why you go with this other option. Now, from my understanding, my personal outlook, the reason why people go with that ideology as to you lack commitment is because anytime you tell someone that you have multiple consenting partners, their first thoughts are, it's like you're cheating the game. Like, we were given the rules, you find one partner, you get married, you have kids, you die. And to them, by having multiple partners, it seems like you're cheating somehow, like you're cheating the system. Like, we had this one thing that was established. Like, how dare you make something else happen? But the thing is, when it comes to healthy polyamorous relationships, you have to have a strong will of commitment to have multiple partners, because the whole intent is not to neglect others. You're making time, you're giving space for them and yourself. That is a very strong commitment. And I truly do believe, yes, polyamory can come easy to some people, but for others, it takes work. Like, these are different individuals. Everyone's not cookie cutter board. Everyone does not need the same things. Some people might need more, some people might need less. It's a whole equitable system that requires a lot of work and effort. If that's not commitment, then I really don't know what is. So that is also one thing. Another thing being, you're getting into it just so you can sleep around and have sex with other people. With that one, and like, stay on my pants. Like, clearly, two consenting adults agree to something, and another consenting adult agrees. Like, why are you so worried about someone else's sex? Like, go get your own. If you are not getting enough, go talk to your partner. If you are envious, then just look into it. Like, talk to somebody. Actually look for answers versus passing judgment. You might either find out that monogamy is actually perfect for you, or there might be other options out there, because we only have one life to live, so why live in regret? Go ahead and explore. If it is a sex thing, then it's a sex thing. But guess what? Everyone is consenting. No one is being deceitful. And yeah, with deceit comes another misconception, which is it is an infidelity solver. Like, yo, why are you out here cheating when you could be non-monogamous? Why are you out here cheating when you could be polyamorous? No. I gotta go AHTH, like, no. That's not how this shit works. Just cause you're polyamorous doesn't mean you're immune to cheating. If anything, it's even harder, because cheating, alright, I think everyone has different definitions of cheating. Some people think it's just simply being infidel, like just having sex with someone outside your partnership. For me, I see cheating as going beyond your partner's boundaries. So that could be physical, that could be emotional, that could be spiritual. Like, going outside of your partner's boundaries, known boundaries, I find that to be cheating. So if your partner is not comfortable with you, if your partner's not comfortable with you being alone with a lady, and you know that boundary and you agree to that boundary and you still do it anyways, that's cheating. You don't have to stick your dick in someone just for it to be cheating. And so, just because someone is polyamorous doesn't that mean that there are more boundaries to be respectful for? So no, cheating gets a lot harder. Cheating is just a simple, not even simple. Cheating is just when you want to do what you want to do despite what it's a very selfish act. And I don't see being selfish as a negative thing personally. For me, I believe more people should be a little bit more selfish. I find when you're selfish, I find it harmful when it's to the detriment of another person. Not the inconvenience, two different things. Inconvenience, you're doing something and someone's not actually hurt by it. They are a little bit saddened. Inconvenience, I don't have no problem. Be selfish. If it's inconvenient to someone, that's their cup of tea. That's their whatever they gotta deal with. But detrimental, breaking someone's heart, physically hurting somebody. Like when your selfishness is to the detriment of another, that's when it becomes a problem. And that selfish act of cheating is to the detriment of your partner. I polyamory, non-monogamy, nothing will save you from being disrespectful to another human. So that is one thing that is definitely just a hell no. And lastly, that I have at least here is that polyamory will be a relationship saver. No, you don't save relationships by adding on more relationships. That you might as well just go ahead and break up. Like if you think that polyamory is the key to saving your relationship, then you done goofed. You just need to go ahead, accept the time that you had was precious, and move the fuck on. Because polyamory does not, because right now you're bringing another person into a toxic situation that you should not be in yourself. So it will not save a relationship. If anything, it might end it faster and might make it uglier. So just no. That's not what polyamory is about. Polyamory is about genuine connection with other people. Polyamory is really about love and connection with others. So hopefully whoever hears this kind of catches that, like these misconceptions. It's easier to digest these misconceptions because they sound pretty. But normally when something's in a pretty package like that, there's something negative behind it. So just be mindful. I'm trying to think. What is there any other I might be missing some other misconceptions. Just hit me up on Instagram with Hitchhiker's Guide to E&M, or hit me up on Twitter, or even email me if I might have missed one. Because I would like to let the people know, like when you go on this journey, it's good to not hit a wrong turn. Now, as far as the pros and cons, let me start with the cons. So, some of the things when it comes to polyamory. So some of the cons are involving like equity versus equality. Now, what does that mean? So when it comes to equitable, it means giving everyone what they need. Equal, giving everyone the same across the board. Now, some relationships they go off the side of equal, others off of equitable. And the reason why I see this as a con is because you may not be in a position to provide what is equitable or equal to your partners. Someone might need, so like for example, there is an event happening on the same day with two different partners, and now you have to decide which one to go to. Now, the equitable and equal can't be matched because they both want you at these events and they're happening at the same time. So it comes off as choosy. So if you pick one, someone suddenly thinks that you want that other person more than you want them, and leads to certain turmoils. So I do find that a bit of a con because it's a struggle. Like the Google Calendar just can only help you so much. I would say another con would be accidental neglect of your secondary partner. Now, some polyamorous relationships are hierarchy based. That's why you will hear the term primary and secondary. Now, what the primary normally means is it's normally the first partner that that established the relationship, and also you can have more than one primary partner. They're kind of like a set tier of what is involved with the primary, be it nesting or any other, be it nesting, children. Like there's a lot of kind of like a bullet checklist when it comes to what primary has. And the secondary is normally that other partner. Normally, if I had to use words, you have your wife and then you have your girlfriend. There are some things that the wife will have inherently that the girlfriend will not. Now, the con being the neglect of the secondary is that there are times when the veto power is established where the primary partner can say, no, I rather have you now. And that veto is very neglectful to the secondary. I do want to shout out to a friend of mine by the name of Justice who did hit me to the secondary Bill of Rights. I will get to that in a couple weeks where it's kind of just listing out like, yo, the secondary is entitled to your time as well as commitment. Like, you can't just cut them off the last second because your primary had a bad day. Because guess what? That secondary is about to have a bad day because you canceled on them. You know, it's just not fun to do. It's not fun to do that. Like, what is the point of this relationship if it's just, let that person go if you're not going to be committed to them, at least to that bare minimum that they're asking. Um, but yeah, as far as pros, if you are an extrovert, introvert, ambivert, you will find someone that meshes with you. And that, honestly, that's a beautiful thing. So, a pro is the different people that you will come into in your life because everyone is different. You will not find someone that's the same, and everyone can provide you something different, some kind of show of their love that is different. And you can show up in your love kind of different. Like, you may have someone that you love cosplay. There's one of your partners that adores cosplay, love going to BlurredCon. That's a connection that you can have there. You have the romantic who likes to go on these extravagant dates on rooftops. Like, you can have different connections and have different pieces of yourself explored that you wouldn't have otherwise. I would say another pro is the ability to meet someone new as your true self. Now, let me explain. Normally, when you go on dates, you are showing up with your interview self because you are thinking, all right, let me be base plain vanilla. I don't want to scare this person away. I just, you're just not trying to trick them, but you want to see, like, this is the best I can be before you show them your flaws. But I've come to notice on the E&M and polyamorous space, you're more your genuine self when you show up. You are able to have genuine connections. Like, I have actual lady friends right now that we had no connection. We were like, no, this ain't a thing. But we are genuine friends because I showed up as my full self. I let me know what I was about. They let me, and because they were so comfortable with how I was, they were comfortable. It's like we got to know our genuine selves in like the first few days. We were able to like even save time in regards to like, oh no, we don't even see anything romantic, but real cool as fuck. If anything, kick it, hang out, chat. If I need something, you need something. It's like you're able to be your true self, which is a great positive. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break, and then I'm going to go ahead and get into a couple myths and talk about my own personal exploration into polyamory.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back. And let's go ahead and get into the myths that we have here. Now, I just only have a few down. There are so many. Kind of touched on some of them earlier on in this episode, like infidelity, cheating. That was pretty much like a lot. Cheating, sex, orgies. That's what a lot of the myths touch on. But I want to go ahead and give a couple more myths that is involved. That's kind of linked with polyamory. One of the biggest ones would be that women have it easier dating in non and in poly. Women have it easier dating versus men, because the whole idea is, a man and a woman decide to be polyamorous. He can get one date. All of a sudden, she has like 20. So that honestly has to be one of the biggest myths, because I know quite a few polyamorous women, and they will all tell you that dating is trash out there, polyam or monogamous or otherwise, because it's a lot of just going through a lot of trash individuals just to find someone that might work. So that is one myth that's definitely out there. Another myth that I have is that everyone must like everyone. That is not necessarily the case. So for those who don't know, there is a term called metamor. Metamor just mean my partner's partner. So, for example, I myself have my anger partner, as well as a play partner, as well as another partner that we're just kicking it. And so, for her, those other two would be her metamors, i.e., partner's partner. So, the concept that everyone must like everyone for it to work is not necessarily true. In some cases, some don't even want to be bothered by their metamors, be it for their own emotional boundary or they just really don't care to hear or know about it. So in some cases, they are just kept separately apart. Like they'll know of each other, they know of when someone's interacting with another, but for the most part, everyone doesn't have to like everyone. At the bare minimum, just respect everyone's connections. That's really all it is to the game. Another myth is the STI risk is a lot higher in polyamory. Personally, I find the people I have dealt with are more conscious of their sexual health than monogamous people. Like even my whole monogamous streak for what I stopped like overall dating around 25, started ending up going to parties and such around 28. And so that means I took my first STI test when I was 28 years old. Fortunately, everything came back negative. So, there was like no markings. Like, I've been a sexual person before 28. I've had condom sex. I have had sex without a condom before I got my first test. But monogamous wise, I have never ever thought, I should probably go get tested. But when it comes to dealing with other people, it's like a regular thing. Like it's a part of our health, like our overall health, is you get tested. I can bet that if you bring up a random monogamous person and you bring up a random monogamous person that is currently dating and bring up any polyamorous person, I bet the polyamorous person got their most recent results, because it's very important and respectful to your partners that you know your status. So that is like one like major myth. Like ever since I got into this world, I rarely get tested. I make sure I'm not passing anything on to anyone. Like I'm more conscious of it because I have to be. The next myth I have is the polyam people haven't met the one, because we know we're helpless romantics thanks to a bunch of TV bullshit. So we love the concept of the one. Like personally, I do believe in the one. It just doesn't have to be one person. Like you can have. I believe that there are many aspects that can be appreciated across the board. It's not just simply limited to 1 out of 7 billion people. Even if you take away for what you're overall looking for, like cool, 3.5 billion women, cool, 2 billion actual adult women. Oh, sure. One, maybe what, 500 million that's around my age dating range or whatever. Like, to find that one person, like, the odds of it, ridiculous. Just straight ridiculous if you want to prescribe to the Hollywood version of what a relationship should be like. Another one would be that how polyamory is a new fad. Honestly, marriage is newer than polyamory. Polyamory has been around since cavemen dwelling together. Like the concept of community was not just something that was made out of the thin air. Like polyamory was never like a new thing. Like marriage itself was what created in order to accumulate wealth, and then it trickled down to the common man. Like marriage is more of a new fad compared to polyamory. And I would say the last myth that I wrote down was involving how people that are polyamorous or non-monogamous, they are emotionally immature and fear commitment. It's like that makes no sense. Like for you to deal with that many individuals, you have to be very immature. Not immature, sorry. You have to be very mature emotionally in order to make it work. Now, if they're talking about unhealthy polyamorous dynamics, sure, of course, because they're emotionally immature. The healthy ones that I have seen involves a level of emotional maturity as well as communication in order to make it work. And the problem is, there's a lot of monogamous people that don't have these things either, which is why they fail and they just try to keep pushing it. So the idea that someone that is in a healthy and successful polyamorous relationship is emotionally immature does not make any sense. But yeah, there's so many more myths out there because it is society's tradition to yuck another person's yums or knowing not how to mind their own business. But overall, I did have my own personal look into polyamory. Now, I don't tell people I'm polyamorous because I prescribe more for the side of relationship anarchy. Now, in terms of polyamory, I did actually take some concepts from it, be it the multiple partners aspects, the regards of love. I did take elements from it in regards to my journey into relationship anarchy. It's just that I don't prescribe well to the set ideologies of certain dynamics like monogamy, one person, you'll marry them, yada yada yada. Polyamory, you have these multiple connections, you have these polycules, you have like there's certain levels of structure involved in there where I feel like I will get lost in the structure versus getting lost in a relationship, if that makes sense. Because there are certain, like if I tell someone I'm polyamorous, that means I'm telling them that I understand these aspects of being polyamorous with someone else. Now, I know of the aspects, but I don't want to come up to someone and tell them that where I prefer that we discuss what it is that we want from each other versus having an understood idea of what it is going to be. Cause like I do know the terms kitchen table poly, a polyamory where all partners are at least bare minimum can sit at a kitchen table and like interact. Solo poly, you're your own partner. You're pretty much your own primary partner. Everyone else is a secondary compared to it, meaning that you're your own nesting partner. You do your own bills and all these other things. I learned a new term, garden table poly, where essentially you more so are able to amicably hang out whenever you're at an event for your primary partner. So like it's not that the metas are always cool like all the time, like go to a kitchen table. It's like, hey, if we're going to a birthday party, we're all there, we're all amicable. So there are a lot of variations, there are a lot of breakdowns, and that's not for me. Like I rather just go ahead and be clean cut. Like, hey, I would like when I saw the relationship anarchy smorgasbord when I was like first like diving into it, I was like, this makes a lot more sense to me. If I didn't know of relationship anarchy, I would say polyamory would maybe my jam more so. Maybe even just like solo poly might be my thing, but nah, I just think it wasn't for me. In regards to how I saw it, how I talked to people about it, and it's not like it's a bad thing. It's not like a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just a thing. And that's pretty much where I got off at. It's like, yeah, this is cool. This is close to what I want, but I'm going to dive deeper. And I will in the future episode go and break down the concept of relationship anarchy. This one is relatively new. It sounds scary because there's anarchy at the end of it, but it just really means that you're kind of just breaking the structure of what it is a relationship should be or what it's it's a lot. So I'm making sure I'll dedicate an episode to that. But yeah, this is all I got for today. Didn't want to hold y'all up a long ass time like I did before. Um So next episodes, like maybe 2 or 3 more, I kind of want to focus on to polyamory some more, because again, it is vast. There's like a little bit more I want to go ahead and get into, specifically solo poly, because it honestly, I feel like a lot more people would vibe with solo poly when they hear what it actually is. But yeah, beyond that, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it here. I am blessed that y'all decided to go ahead and listen, and happy to have you. If you want to reach out to me, just send me an email to hitchhikersguide to enm at gmail.com. You can also follow me at Hitchhiker's Guide to ENM on Instagram. And I do have Twitter, Hitchhiking to ENM. That's going to be with one H, so that's HITCHIKING to ENM to ENM. I think, I actually think I got it right that time. HITCHIKINGTOENM. That's my Twitter handle. I told you I'm getting better at this. But yeah, be sure to reach out. The words I will leave you with is this: you're worthy. Just know you're worthy. Like, the world has a lot of people that is telling you that you are not deserving. Fuck them. Because your heart is beating, you're a part of this world. If they don't want to be a part of the world that you're in, then they can leave you the fuck alone. Because you are worthy of whatever it is you want to grab. Alright, travelers, until next time, be safe and good luck on your journey.